And Jean, she's going to talk about uh, the current market update in San Diego, even though it has not been such a long time since she spoke to us. But every little bit of change that is occurring in the market is important to each of us because we need to observe what the trend is. And then Jean is going to share with us some recent experience. I know she had a couple of transactions that went pending recently, so I'm very pleased that Jean is doing very, very well and has got a lot of experience to share with us today. All right, Jean. As you know, Jean is a very successful real estate agent in the San Diego area. Jean has been with us since 2016, and I have only good things to say about her. Her records goes up every year. Every year she's having more and more transactions. And during the pandemic, you never have to worry about Jean Riley. She's just gonna keep on going. Let me ask you this: are you able to share with us lately the number of transactions you had and how has it been for you lately?
I have 5 active escrow right now, and I should be opening another escrow in a couple days. My number, which is quite interesting this year, I do have a lot of new home buyers. So I have 4 new home buyer in escrow, and then one more to be added in a couple days from now.
Oh, wow.
I have another one. I represented both buyer and seller. So this one is an off-market deal. Because my backgrounds, we also do property management, and I have a network of close to probably 80 investors, almost 100 investment property. So when my investor want to sell, the first person they think about is me. And so many times I was able to sell it to my other investor without even going on the market. And
I
in
see.
fact, this morning before I came to the webinar, I was doing my inspection at 9 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
So
You know what?
exciting
I've been
day.
talking to some agents. Obviously, the transactions have declined quite a bit. So I have you here to share with us the market update for August of 2020. Why don't you
Sure.
start by sharing with us the current days on the market, the price trend, as well as the inventory?
Sure. So in San Diego, there are 98 different zip codes, and let's focus on the detached home. So for the detached home, this is the one get the biggest impact, and that's why I want to focus on it.
Okay.
Inventory is still down 51.8%.
Compared to August
50%.
2019?
Well, the data I have is July because we look at the entire month. So
Yes.
but again, right now it's still very similar. It's last year the same month, 2019, we had almost 5,000 homes, detached home for sale. This year we only have 2,400, and that is down more than 50%. Days
Okay.
on market, because the inventory is such a tight commodity right now, the days market obviously decreases. So the days on market is, let's see, it decreases by 3%. And not much, because again, the house is not going to sell by itself. You still need to put it on the market, have enough people to see it, and this is actually the averages. So I'm talking about the entire San Diego County. There are some good area, there are some bad area, but in general, the days on market still decreases by 3%. So
3% from last month or from last year? From last month?
last year. From this year, it's still decreased by 1 day. So 1 day. See, in San Diego, average house is going into pending about 30 days. So it's just off by a couple days. Personally, I don't care that much about days on market that much because we are only down by 1 day, 2 day. See, the buyers I represented, most of them want to buy in a good school district, a good area. And those are always competitive anyway. In fact, if I use 92129 as an example, I live in 92129. I have 3 escrow in 92129 currently, so I can speak to this very intelligently. So basically, the days on market right now, it's only 11 days.
Oh, wow.
That's 11 days compared to the entire San Diego County that is almost 30 days. So 11 days versus 30 days. That is like 1/3, right? So yeah, 92129 is crazy. But the thing is, there are only 12 homes for sale in July for 92129. That is crazy.
Why do you think
That's
so
not,
few homes are on sale in that area code, that zip code?
because again, it's a good school district and people don't necessarily move that much, and it's an area people want to buy. And then when you have the COVID-19, that also make it even more difficult. So it's a very, very hard market to get into. I mean, this year, I think I already closed maybe 4 in 92129 zip code. Yeah, it's a crazy market. Yeah.
Got it.
And another interesting thing is, so I also represent buyer. In fact, right now I have more buyer than seller. For the new home, like Esma, you probably know, most of the time the price is not that much negotiable. I mean, you can negotiate a little bit, but most of the time, right now the builder pretty much just told me, if you have any negotiation, we reject it. We don't even present it. So, but in new home, which is a little different. So when the buyer asks me, how much should I make the offer to win this listing, to get my offer accepted, I usually look at the historical trend. What's the price for that house? And then I factor in what I think the appreciation rate is. And how do I get that appreciation rate? Which is very easy. You can look up. So basically, you look at the median sales price, the average price, and then the average sales price. So the median sales price for 92129 actually increased by 5.2%. So I use that as kind of a rough guideline, and then I actually might go up a little bit. And if the buyer, typically this is what I found, if a buyer don't quite follow my suggestion, they typically don't get out.
Listen to Jim.
And then they might kind of, do that a few times, and then finally, say, Jim, I will listen to you. So, my goal is to get my buyer what they wanted. See, if they don't want to pay that much, then that's fine. We'll just keep looking, right? Yes. At the same time, I feel real estate agent need to be honest to the buyers. Right. You tell the buyer, this is the market. You, quote unquote, you might think you overpay, but 10 years from now, when you look back, you're going to be so glad you bought that house because you still make money. Maybe you make $10,000 less, but so what? You don't need to pay that rent. In fact, the house I went to do inspection this morning, this is an investment property. So I talked to the buyers, and I talked to the tenant. My buyer is the one I represent, and I also represent the seller. So I do an agent. But anyhow, I talked to the tenant. I said, hey, where did you live before? Why did you want to move? And she told me she used to rent a house $3,500 a month. Think about that. That's a lot of money. That's like almost $40,000 you are paying to someone else's mortgages.
Exactly.
So if I can buy the house, even though I think I might have overpaid $10,000, I still need $30,000 more.
Exactly.
Case, right?
Yeah.
So that totally make a big differences. And with the interest rate so low, one of my buyer was able to get an interest rate 2.5% for 30 years.
Oh my God. So if everybody's thinking the way you're thinking, right? So the price is just going to keep going up. So what's the trend now in San Diego? You seeing more and more overbid, or what's going on?
I do see more and more overbid. I also do see people are buying more new home. And then I also see people jumping into the market sooner than what they think they were going to do because the interest rate. And like even yesterday, I actually talked to 2 buyers. One of them is my relocation buyer. She, again, I was able to put her in a property we managed, which worked out so well. She thanks me profusely. She's like, Jean, I love this place you sent me to, and thank you so much for your services. And then let's go buy my next house. And so, I mean, that's basically, I already explained to her, you coming from East Coast, maybe the market is a little different, but in San Diego, it's a very hard market. You're probably going to expect to overpay, a little bit, but you want to be in a good school district because they have little kids, and then she is a research scientist. She wants to be at least close enough to her work, so her life quality doesn't decrease by driving for a long time every day. And then I also talked to another young family. He is also a research scientist. In fact, the company he's working for right now, this is very funny. I saw him because I haven't seen him since April, when we started the pandemic. And I say, hey, you lose weight. Usually people gain weight. Why did you lose weight? And he's like, Jing, I work so hard. I went to work at 7 o'clock in the morning. And so basically, he is involved with developing testing kits for COVID-19.
Wow.
So the company staff is doing really, really well. And so for him, his own economic outlook is actually very strong. I mean, obviously, I do have some clients, tenants, they are in the industry that does get a lot of impact, like restaurants, servers, things like that. But at the same time, I'm a very optimistic person. I always feel you need to look at things in what's the silver lining for all those messages?
Exactly.
Yes, we have COVID-19.
Yes.
But COVID-19 also brought us low interest rate, right?
Right.
Personally, I 100% believe without COVID-19, we will not have a 2.5% interest rate.
Of course.
Market, there's no sign of slowing down, and there's a lot of predictions still saying next year the price is still going to go up about 4 to 5%. I mean, using San Diego, this is the entire San Diego averages. The median price, guess what? It went up by 11.5%.
From when? From
last year.
From last year.
The same months.
Oh wow. Okay, my God, the prices are still going up. It has a lot to do with the inventory, right? Inventory is still very, very tight, right?
Yeah, I think the inventory is definitely one of the biggest factors. And so here's the things, some of my buyers might say, hey, June, so what do you think? When COVID-19 is over, won't there be a rush of inventory on the market?
Yes.
I would say yes, that's probably it won't be so tightened up anymore. But at the same time, inventory also have a seasonal high and low. And I'm pretty sure that kind of apply to the entire California and also entire United States.
Now you got a lot of buyers into escrow. Tell us some of your success stories. Why is it that you're so successful in being able to get quite a few buyers' offers accepted? What are the strategies that you used?
So because I do my transaction 50% for buyer, 50% for seller, it just happened to work out that way. So I can think like an enemy. I cannot, quote unquote, that's kind of funny. It's not enemy. It's a cooperating agent. I can think from their point of view. Because, we always say, if you want to win, you need to know what the other side thinking, right? Just like Chinese people say, 知己知彼,百战百胜. If you can know the other side, you're going to win 100% of the time. And, for me, when I represent the buyers, I always try to figure out what the seller wanted. Sometimes, 100% of the time, I will be trying to talk to the seller's agent.
Okay.
And the seller's agent, sometimes they are good, sometimes they don't say too much. In fact, I recently submitted offer to an agent, and he was nice. And here's the thing: always do what you say you will do, because don't let people become disappointed. I remember I talked to the agent, and my buyer was literally right next to me. This is a cash buyer. She was buying almost 100. She had close to probably $2 or $3 million net worth in cash, and it was almost I think it was $800,000 purchases cash. The listing agent, seller's agent, talked to me while my buyer was right next to me. Say, I'm going to contact everybody. You're going to hear from me this day. Zip, nothing. I've been following up with the agent. I text him, I call him, I do this. And he's just not doing anything. And, the thing is, I kept my buyer updated. And so my buyers still have a high trust in me. In fact, I'm showing another property with great ocean view for $1 million this afternoon. So I think, like I always try to talk to the other side of agents, figure out what I can do to help my buyer.
Yes.
But if the other side is not responding, don't give up. Still keep posted with your current buyer. Let them know this is what you did. And recommend to them, perhaps, do you want to revise your offer? Because based on my calculations, I think the number you have might not be the number they will be selling this property for. So once in a while, my buyer will be changing their number. And then I also, sorry, there was a call coming in. And then I also try to figure out the terms, because as you know, pricing is one. Pricing is probably the biggest factors. But then besides pricing, usually what I will hear from the seller's agent, the listing agent is, give me a clean offer. What does a clean offer mean? A clean
Exactly.
offer
So
means,
that means zero contingency?
no, not necessary. It does not mean zero contingencies. Just
Okay.
means you want to tighten the contingency period as much as you can. So standard California contract, you have inspection for 17 days, you have appraisal for 17 days, you have loan contingency for 21 days. Right now, I'm doing my buyer's inspection period somewhere between 7 to 10 days. This is probably the magic number.
All right.
Anything above 10 is probably no hope. And then appraisal, when the market is very strong for seller, when there's a lot of buyer competing for the same house, you probably want to put. So I do have listing agent counter back with buyer to remove appraisal contingency.
Right.
And this is the time I will need to have a come to Jesus talk with my buyer. So I need to have a frank discussion with my buyer. Yes, you probably will overpay a little bit, but at the same time, you could also decide not to buy. I mean, there's so many things. But some of my buyers do accept the no contingency, counter. Most of the time, what I do is I want to protect my buyer because I don't want it to be like
Of course.
open bank for them.
Of course.
So
Let me ask you this, Jean. Let me ask you this. How aggressively should a buyer's agent follow up with the listing agent after an offer is submitted? And to what extent should the buyer's agent be aggressive?
I will say you can never be aggressive enough. Aggressive, I think, has a negative tone.
Okay.
But I see it as a way to help my buyer. See, my goal is to help my buyer get what they wanted.
Right.
What they wanted is they want a house. So
Yes.
I'm a very goal-driven person. I see that goal in front of me. I'm like a bulldog. I'm not going to let go my goal if I don't get to it. So I think that's why the seller's agent usually is a little surprised, because if they met me, they saw me, but at the same time, I'm very nice and friendly as well. So you just need to follow up in a diplomatic way. I won't say, how come you don't get back to me? That's the wrong way to follow up. I might say something like, hey, so-and-so, how's it going? Just want to check in and things like that. So I might actually follow up multiple times a day, especially if the agent told me they're going to have a response. Let's say if the agent say I'm going to get back to you by 12 o'clock, I don't wait till 12 o'clock. I do it a little early because you never know. And then I actually have helped my buyer get a house that way because there's new offer coming in, and the seller's agent was in a good relationship with me. And sometimes they know me because I do quite a few transactions, and they might have done a business with me in the past. So they typically want to do it again with me. So they might say, hey, Jean, I actually have a listing agent. I have thick skin too. I actually asked a listing agent, can you tell me what the major number is? Like my buyer really, really want this house.
Yeah.
And the agent, surprisingly, sometimes they will actually tell you enough information.
Okay.
So this agent told me, just kind of this number.
All right,
Jean,
Jean, obviously it takes a lot of hard work to follow up. Now, we got about a minute. So why don't you share with us your last minute tips to the agents that's currently confused about the market because there's a huge drop in the closed transactions, and yet they're hearing stories about success story about yours and said, what is it that they are doing that's different from what I'm doing? I'm here. I am worrying about whether I'm gonna close enough transaction to support my family this year. Here she is closing like getting into escrow like 4 or 5 times a month. So what is it that Gene you're doing that what some of the other agents are not doing? Give us a 1 minute tip on that.
I say in the long run, you need to be helpful. So a lot of leads I got, it was through word of referrals. I don't know them personally, but they somehow found me somewhere because my other buyers, seller recommended me. So always be helpful to people. Don't have a commission as your goal. For
Yes.
me, is how many people I can help, how I can impact their life. Because when they are successful, I am successful, right?
Yes.
The income is a byproduct. That's how I see it. So that was number one. Your mentality really need to change.
Right.
Second is follow up. I can tell you all the good things happen to me when I follow up, and I can tell you horrible story happen to me when I don't follow up. Trust me, I don't follow up 100% either. But yesterday there was a buyer. She's a relocation buyer. So I went there to say hi, even though I didn't plan that. I was just in the area. So I tend to do this. If I have enough time, I pop by. I don't necessarily like put out my calendar, so I pop by. And another client, that's the one I say, he worked for the company that does COVID-19 testing kits. I just thought about him yesterday, which is bad because I should be thinking about him more often. But at the same time, I think at least I thought about him. And you know why? When I saw him, we engaged a 1 hour conversation in the parking lot. We
I see.
both had masks on, but that's when I was able to put fuel under the fire to let him know this is why you should buy. And he's like, Jim, yeah, you are right. I should buy. So basically, I let people decide by themselves, but you agent need to provide enough information for the buyer to make decisions.
All right, Gene.
Otherwise, they won't.
Obviously, you're the most energetic and enthusiastic agent I've ever seen. So, in 15 seconds, share with us where you get all this energy.
I don't have kids.